Welcome back to the Hyvä YouTube channel. Thank you so much for being here. My name's Rebecca Brocton and I'm Community Manager here at Hyvä. And we've been out and about again, which is super exciting. And today I'm joined by Hyvä's Angels, Sanne, our Commercial Director, and Thien-Lan, our Marketing Director as well. So thank you so much for joining me both.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for having us.
Welcome back from Florida. I'm so jealous that you've got a little bit of February sunshine already. But yeah, that must have been really nice. It looked amazing. Did you both have an incredible time?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think the jealousy is justified.
Yeah, definitely. When you think back to Meet Magento Florida, what's the first thing that pops to your head?
For me, and I know the organizer has also been keen on doing that, it's kind of Imagine vibes. So if you've ever been to Magento Imagine in Vegas, I think it's quite similar to that. It's obviously a lot smaller, as Magento Imagine was like 3,000 people, but it's got a little bit of that same feeling. Like obviously weather-wise, it's similar, but also the fact that everything is set at this one hotel, where you constantly run into people from the conference, and then the combination of like interesting talks and fun and networking, it's really well done. So that to me is the first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, and what's very different here are all the side events. So from the pre-party to the beach day, the day after, and then dinner on that day. So there are lots of things happening where you can continue the conversation or start knowing people just before the conference. So the format is just perfect for us to create deep relationships with people.
Definitely. I mean, it looked like there was absolutely loads going on. The page that talked about all of the events going on around the main event was as long as the speaker list. I think it was like I was scrolling for ages on the website when I was having a look.
Difficult to choose, honestly.
Yeah, I can imagine. What were you most excited about going into the event? Was there anything that you were super looking forward to?
So to me, it was connecting with the US market. So I crunched some numbers just before the event, and I could see that the US is our second largest market and is growing very, very quickly. It's growing quicker than the first market, so hopefully it will take over with a 91% growth, which is amazing. And our enterprise product is doing really well in the US. However, I also crunched the stats about Hyvä checkout, and I could see that adoption was only 30% when our best markets like Netherlands or Germany are at 75 or 65%. So I was on a mission to go and ask agencies and merchants why. And then I found out that it was mostly awareness. People didn't know we have the product. People didn't know there were good integrations. And some were more around, having more stable integrations or owned by the actual vendor as opposed to a third party. So it gives us great feedback to work on. But also, in the meantime, the amazing team we have at Hyvä launched a checkout campaign so we can see how that compares.
Yeah, it was quite ironic, wasn't it? The timing you were talking about Hyvä checkout in the US, and we were also doing loads of talking about Hyvä checkout all over socials and emails as well, which is, I guess, helps the conversations that you're having over there. So talking about the same thing.
So what made me think it was awareness is that someone came to me and said, "Oh, my client just got that email." And they said, "Oh, let's talk about Hyvä checkout." So it means they didn't know before and they had no barriers to implementing it. So that was really cool.
That's awesome. It looked like you met absolutely loads of people. Who did you bump into that made you go, yeah, this is why I love coming to these kinds of events? And did you have any unexpected or standout chats?
So for me, I've been preparing together with our partner Hiberus, the talk that they gave together with our joint customer Nestlé at the Meet Magento Florida. And this is a really cool client case, I think, because of course Nestlé is a world-known brand, but also the implementation that Hiberus has done and the results they've been able to book in a very short time frame have been really extraordinary. So I was very excited about going to this talk, but it was also the first time that I actually met Veronica from the client side. And it was the second time I met Christina from Hiberus, but it was like the first time that we actually got to speak a little bit longer together. And I got to know her better, and they are both like very inspiring women. They were also, by the way, the only women on stage at the event, so it's definitely something that can be done better next year. But I was just so proud. Like, they were very inspiring women both. They had a very well executed talk, And it was also about Hyvä. So to me, it was like, yay.
All of the things coming together at once.
Everything that makes me happy was there. So that was a perfect alignment.
I love that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I saw that there was obviously quite a few talks actually on Hyvä at the event. We were mentioned in so many. We were getting tagged in all sorts, obviously, because I was all over the social media from very cold England. But I was seeing lots of sunny photos and lots of mentions of Hyvä, which was really, really awesome. So which ones stood out to you out of those talks? And were there any moments where you were nodding along thinking, yes, this is so true?
There were a lot of talks about Hyvä indeed. So we actually had to sometimes... we had to split up, but we also had to be mindful that, okay, we need to attend this one and this one and this one. So it was difficult to choose sometimes because we also wanted to be at the booth, of course.
I was going to say, you also got the booth.
So it was a bit hectic, but indeed, like the program was absolutely packed with Hyvä talks, which is amazing. To me, aside from the Hiberus and Nestlé case, one talk that really stood out was the one given by 01 about the POS system that they've built on top of Hyvä. First of all, because it's a great product, it's open source, so it's actually adding a lot of value to the entire Hyvä community because everybody can use it. But I also really like the way that they were presenting it. They were like, okay, Hyvä, first of all, was a lifesaver, and it saves us so much time in development that we actually have extra time, and we were like, what we're going to do with it? Okay, let's develop this product. And that's one of the things that I think I love about Hyvä is that it's giving back all this time, but also a lot of energy and innovation to the Magento ecosystem, which is exactly why we came into place in the first place. So that's really cool to see.
That piece of innovation also tied back with the big buzzword of NRF and ETOs and all these big events about unified commerce. So they shared practical examples of how that would look like. They have actual merchants. They tried that on. It's. I think we should. Can't wait to see the video. And the organization of Meet Magento Florida promised they would be live between 7 and 10 days. But
wow.
It's very inspirational. And as you said, it's open source. So why wouldn't you? So we were like, but how come no one knows about these products? So I hope this can help.
Yeah, also, I think what's really cool about that is that last year at Meet Magento, 01 met our platinum partner, by then the only platinum partner, Vendic from the Netherlands, and they kind of hit it off right away and started this bromance, which was really cute and endearing to see for us. Like we felt a little bit like we had some maternal feelings towards all of them.
The children are meeting.
But one of the great results, and this is what I think why events are so important and networking is so important, is that one of Vendic's clients was actually looking for a POS and is now using the POS that was built by 01 and is using it extensively and is extremely happy with it. So they also presented that client case now, and that's exactly a year later. So that's also really nice to see how these connections that you make or that people make at events come to fruition and actually lead to innovations that help customers.
Absolutely. And I love that as an example, as something that we've obviously spoke about often in the community, is that co-opetition type thing where you're obviously, there is competition amongst agencies, but also there's an obscene amount of like cooperation as well and joint efforts that can be done to just push the whole industry forward. And that I think is just a beautiful example of that. So I really can't wait to see that talk. Obviously there was lots going on at the event, loads of things to talk to you about. I've got like a massive list of questions, so you can imagine this is why I'm tripping over my tongue so much, because there's so much I want to ask. But did anything whilst you were there catch you off guard? Did a trend come up that was a bit unexpected perhaps? Or something you didn't see coming?
For me, the keynote speech was unexpected. So I was very lucky because at the pre-party, I had a ride back with that speaker, Chirag. And he's very bubbly. He loves to talk, lots of energy. He works at Google 9 to 5, and then he's a speaker 5 to 9. That's how he presents it. And so, we shared a lot about the story of Magento and so on. And then on stage, he presented a brand clarity framework. So there are 8 ways that you can make your brand story resonate. And I was like, absorbed by his talk. I was like, I have to show that to Jenny and Rebecca from our team. And we should, that's how we should think about our branding. And so at the end, he said, there's a homework you can do, 4,000 words with a paragraph for each of those 8 elements. And on the plane, that's what I did. So I just sent it to him. So we'll see what he says. But I was so inspired, and that allows us to capture everything that we talk about every day and all our values that we live by. So today at the birthday, William said, everything we do is win-win. We want everyone to be part of it. We want to do things the Hyvä way. So all that we can capture them into a framework and then consistently present them through our product offering, website, the way we bill customers, and we do renewals, and obviously, any marketing touch points. So that was really, really cool.
That sounds awesome.
I could feel Thien-Lan glowing next to me when he was speaking. I was like, she is getting so excited right now.
Just rising out of a chair.
Yes, give it to me.
Yeah.
And what I loved about his talk is that he went out of his way to analyze a couple of big sponsors of the show. He went to the website and said, this company, so I think 01, they said, we love that tagline, no bullshit. We are not a development agency, but a delivery agency. And so he started commenting on that. And then he took another sponsor of the event and he analyzed their brand. And I thought it was very thoughtful as well.
And that's really cool. Yeah, definitely personalizing it to the audience really helps suck you in. But that's another talk. I think there's been so many talks that I've seen mentioned that I just really want to catch up on. So it's great to hear that they're looking to turn them around so quickly, like 7 to 10 days. That's coming up in the next couple of days, which will be exciting to see them.
Yeah, that'll keep you busy.
Yeah, it will. I'll be like, I'm off. I'm spending a day at Meet Magento Florida. Virtually. I also want to talk to you about the beach day. So one of the events that you had going on the outskirts of the big event. I saw a photo from the day. It looked like it was a lot of fun at the beach. What kind of things did you do there? What kind of things did you talk about? Tell us about the time on the beach.
Yeah, so it was really hot. So lucky, we were under a marquee, and then Ravi and his whole team brought, cool beers and drinks and pizza. So it was, very relaxed. Had a swim, obviously. And there I had the chance to talk to Robert Duffner. So he loves to talk. And I learned so much. So that was really good. And in particular, we talked about shortage of talent. So it's how hard it is to find Magento developers, how he interviews them. We come up with So what was quite nice, he said, with Hyvä, it's a bit easier to find developers because you can get Alpine or Tailwind developers, not just, core PHP Magento. So that was quite nice. But so my sister was there as well. And she is a professor at Arizona State University working in workforce development in electrical engineering. And so she also thinks about lots of programs about how to help companies find talents and upskill them. So we had all those great chats. And one thing that came up was Hyvä certifications. And I know that projects had been pitched by Vinay 2 years ago. It's been on the shelf, not prioritized. And now with this spark and because we have a much bigger team who can help with all the questions and setting it all up, I think that will be our next priority. So very happy about that.
Definitely. It's good to get, like you say, that outside perspective, that it's not just us thinking that maybe this would be useful, that actually people are kind of almost suggesting it or, saying things that actually we could come up with a solution for that as well. And like you say, it definitely leans into our culture of wanting to constantly give back to the wider ecosystem and the wider community and what more we can do for customers and partners as well. But I think the community vibe definitely came off from the event. What would you say your favourite community moment from the event was?
I think for me it was the Women in eCommerce drinks. So shout out to Narsha for organizing it. Though I have to say it's difficult to choose because there were a lot of great community moments. But what I loved about the Women in eCommerce event, which is what I continuously see if we go to these events, which is a relatively new thing and it's kind of started also by Thien-Lan and myself, is that you find as soon as you put a group of women together, it very quickly becomes personal. And so I also was able to share like some personal stuff with the group, and then just the reactions from the women who were there was like so incredibly heartwarming. And even continuously throughout the event, women came up to me and telling me like how brave I was for sharing that and how they then started sharing their own personal stories, and it just creates this bond that makes it so heartwarming to be part of this community. It's so much more than work. It is our life, and it's incredibly, I feel incredibly thankful for being able to be myself completely and being able to share all of me, and that being received with so much love and gratitude. It's like really, I feel so grateful.
Yeah. Yeah, that bond is really strong. And when, women open up to you about postpartum depression or how guilty they feel of traveling and being there, it's very personal, and that's something you can't forget, and links them to you forever. I think, I think community moments are often like the event wasn't over yet, and they were always already looking for the next event to catch up. And I also met some new US agencies, and they were like, oh, why aren't there any events on the West Coast of the US, or I'm in North Carolina? And I'm like, oh, why don't you set up your own meetups? So I spoke to Laura about it, and maybe the Magento Association could prepare like playbook for Magento meetups. So provide, Eventbrite accounts and then all the assets, and then they just need to find a bar, maybe for 30 people to start with, and Magento Association can put, a couple of $100 for beers, start small and then start growing. I think that could help us reconquer the US, for example.
Yeah, definitely.
But a lot of people said, oh, are you going to Adobe Summit? So I said, Rebecca is going. So I think you'll get a lot of people coming to you, and a lot of meeting requests. That would be so exciting.
Out and about can be you interviewing yourself.
Yeah, it's just like, here I am out and about in America. Yeah, any excuse to go over to the West Coast, it is always welcome, especially for me. I absolutely love it over there, obviously, and I do feel like a connection to it, especially with the Magento community. Obviously, Magento was based in, was it LA? I can't remember. They had a massive office in LA. I remember I visited once. I remember running around the office just so excited back then, surrounded by these Magento celebrities. You touched on the Magento Association being there, and I saw that there was quite a lot of mentions of the Magento Association. They did a pre-event as well, I believe, and obviously they had their talk with Adobe, and Adobe actually mentioned Magento open source, which it's got a really good reaction online especially, and I can imagine there as well. Did you kind of find that same vibe there?
Yeah, so I just reported back to a Major West board, and I felt that this time the alignment between Magento Association, Magento open source, and Adobe was very strong. So Ritesh from Adobe presented open source case study on stage. So, a lot of support from open source. So we're going in the right direction, and can't be happy about that.
Yeah, definitely. That's really, really cool.
I think it's also really thanks to the organizer, Ravi Mittal, who is, I think, like one of the most hospitable people I've ever met. It's like really incredible. On top of organizing this whole event, the night before it all started, on a Tuesday night, he invited all sponsors and speakers and like community members to his house, where he hosted a dinner. And I mean, also his wife's also incredible. Also one of the most hospitable people I've ever met. But just as an event organizer myself, and I'm sure Thien-Lan can relate, I like no way in hell do I want, the night before the event, people at my house, let alone this many, and have such a beautifully organized and like very well thought through dinner at my house. No way. But he's also very good at like bringing people together on the same mission. So I think he has really good contacts at Adobe, at Magento Association, but he also really gets the community spirit, and like that shines through the entire event. And so I think it's really because of him that this is so like these interests are so well aligned.
That's awesome. I love it. Was there anything else that you guys wanted to share before we wrap this up?
Well, I wanted to talk about another case study that blew my mind on stage was Helen of Troy. So it's a massive company, 2 billion. So I didn't know we had, such big clients, and they have amazing brands as well, like a Hydro Flask or Dry Bar. So the case study was all about migrating a couple of brands, I think 4 brands in 5 months, something quite big. And it was very, very nice to see the merchant himself on stage saying how helpful it was to have Hyvä and MageBeat's Venta theme based on Hyvä helping him achieve that.
That's awesome.
And I think you also attended the Evolar case study, Sanne, who is all about selling to the US. So that's another amazing case study of a European company selling to the US.
Yes, and also built on Hyvä, of course. But no, yeah, I think what I would like to say, or I would like to encourage everybody to go to this event, because honestly, like, there's a lot of business value, as I hope we've been able to also convey in this interview. Is that, you know, the talks are very good, the networking is very good, so there's a lot of business opportunity there. I think it's also very interesting as a European company, if you're looking to do business in the US, it's a very nice way to sort of enter that market because it's such an open and inclusive atmosphere. But obviously it's also, yeah, to me, like I said, the perfect combination of work and fun. Really one for the books, and one to keep in mind if you are looking for events to go to next year.
Yeah,
Apart
definitely.
from the Netherlands, of course, everybody has.
You have to go to Meet Magento Netherlands and Meet Magento France. Basically everyone has to go to all of the Meet Magentos.
Yes, and especially France and the Netherlands. And Florida.
And Florida as well. We're vouching for those as well. I think Joshua Warren put it really well in one of his statuses where he posted a video summary of the event. He basically said the same thing, like the best thing you can do is actually be there and be in the room, because that value that you get from the energy as well as the information, it's like priceless. The more of these events that are happening and the bigger that they're getting, the more FOMO is spreading. And I think so, therefore, I think the events are going to just continue to get bigger and bigger, because even it started with Meet Magento India, obviously, a couple of weeks ago. We saw that being like bigger and better than ever, and really exciting. And then obviously same with Florida. And yeah, I think the FOMO is definitely building and building. By the time Meet Magento Netherlands comes, the whole world is going to just descend.
It's good.
So yeah.
It's great ROI as well. So even if I couldn't speak to everyone and, meet new people on the show, I had some LinkedIn requests or emails after the show saying, I was there, didn't get a chance to speak to you, but yeah, we'd love to be partners, blah, blah. So, it's not just those days, but the whole snowball effect.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it really does show. And I think the best relationships are built at these events, which is just incredible to see, like you say, and all of the events around it as well. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm really excited to see all of the videos and all the summaries, but if you are interested in those videos that we've mentioned today, I am going to link them in the description below as soon as they're available. So if you're watching this early, they might not be there yet, but depending on when you're watching it, the videos will definitely be linked below to all of the talks that we've talked about. Thank you. The last question that I had was, if you could sum up Meet Magento Florida into one word, what would it be? No pressure.
I'm going to go for heartwarming.
Love that.
Guitar.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's in every picture about this event. You see the guitar because it's so iconic.
So is that the actual hotel that it's in?
Yes.
The guitar-shaped one? Is it? I wasn't sure if it was like one you could see from the event or whatever, but it's actually in the guitar-shaped hotel.
Yes.
That's amazing.
Well, it's the building itself is bigger than just the guitar, so the event is more. It's not like in the guitar building.
You're not strumming the event.
One of the buildings attached to it, but yeah, that's definitely where it's at. Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that.
It's really hard rock.
So yeah, everything is themed around music. So in the hallways, you can see Madonna's outfit, Amy Winehouse dress, and then drum kits, and then someone else's guitar. And even in the room, everything is like music themed. So are you a roadie or things like that? So yeah,
I love that. I definitely be a groupie. I'm a Meet Magento groupie for sure. Love it. Well, thank you so much both for coming and talking to me about your experience. It's been really nice hearing all about it. And yeah, I can't wait to be over stateside myself later in the year for Adobe Summit. So yeah, thank you so much. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe below. We will definitely be making more videos as we're out and about all year. But yeah, thank you so much. Thanks both.
Thank you, Becky.